What if NVTS doesn't need to become the next NVIDIA for investors to make serious money? Because Navitas Semiconductor is sitting around the $12 to $13 area, and suddenly one question becomes very interesting. Can NVTS reach 20? Could it go to 30? And is $50 completely unrealistic? Now, I'm not going to tell you that NVTS is guaranteed to hit any of these targets. But after looking at what Navitas is actually building, I think there is a much more interesting story here than just another AI stock. And the key word is power. AI data centers are getting bigger and more powerful. More GPUs mean more electricity. And the more power these data centers consume, the more important efficient power conversion and management becomes. That's where Navitas wants to play. The company develops GaN and silicon carbide power semiconductor technology, and it's increasingly targeting high-power AI infrastructure. But here's the twist. The opportunity is huge. While the company itself is still relatively small, Navitas recently reported around $10.5 million in quarterly revenue, which was up about 22% sequentially. Sounds impressive, but revenue was still below the same period last year. And that's exactly why I think NVTS is a high-risk, high-reward stock. The AI story is exciting, but eventually the numbers have to prove it. So let's talk about 20. Personally, I think $20 is the first target I'd take seriously. Why? Because Navitas doesn't need to dominate AI. It simply needs to convert more of its AI opportunities into real revenue. Management expects AI infrastructure to become roughly 1/3 of sales by Q4 2026. If that happens, investors could start seeing NVTS very differently. Instead of a small semiconductor company, it could start being valued as an AI infrastructure play, and that's where the valuation could change. But what about $30? That's a different story. And this is where things get really interesting. Because for NVTS to reach $30, I believe the company will need much stronger execution. I'm talking about accelerating revenue, increasing AI-related sales, successful customer adoption, and eventually better margins. Announcements won't be enough. The market will want proof. Can NVTS actually justify $50? And there's a major risk that could completely change this prediction. So let's continue from where we left off. Can NVTS actually justify $50? And more importantly, what would have to happen before investors should take that target seriously? First, let's finish the $30 scenario. In my opinion, NVTS reaching $30 would require much stronger execution. I'm talking about accelerating revenue, increasing AI-related sales, successful customer adoption, and eventually better margins. Announcements won't be enough. The market will want proof. And Navitas is also expanding its AI power capabilities through its planned acquisition of Claros. That could potentially give the company a broader role in AI data center power management. But here's the risk. Competition is serious. There are much larger semiconductor companies fighting for the same market, and having good technology doesn't guarantee that customers will choose you. That's why I wouldn't simply buy NVTS, because the words AI and data center sound exciting. Now let's talk about $50. Personally, I would not make $50 my base case prediction. I would call it an aggressive long-term bull case. Why? Because from around $12 to $13, reaching $50 would require an enormous move. For that to happen, Navitas would need to become a dramatically larger company. Revenue would need to grow substantially. AI customers would need to scale. Margins would need to improve. And the market would need to believe that this growth can continue for years. So here's my personal NVTS price map. 20, I think it's possible if execution improves. 30, possible, but it needs significantly stronger growth. 50, possible in a long-term extreme bull case, but I wouldn't invest based on that target alone. And here's the question I really want you to answer. If NVTS reaches $20, would you sell? Or would you hold for $30? And if it reaches $30, would you still wait for $50? Drop your NVTS target in the comments. I want to know whether you think Navitas is a future AI power winner, or just another stock getting carried by the AI hype. And if you want more stock analysis without the unnecessary hype, hit the like button, subscribe, and turn on notifications. Because with NVTS, the biggest catalyst may not be another AI announcement. It may be the moment when the revenue numbers finally prove that the AI power story is real.